Shalom, shalom, friends. Good to be with you again on this Tuesday afternoon here in Gainesville. There's a phrase that is in use all over the Jewish world these days, and the phrase is tikkun olam. And everyone sort of accepts that phrase, which translates as repair of the world, is an encouragement for social justice. And that's what we use. We said our mission is to do tikkun olam. We are a people who do tikkun olam. The phrase itself has interesting origins. You see, it appears in the Mishnah. In the Mishnah in Masechet Gittin, which is about divorce and about divorce decrees. Now, this is a very technical section of the Mishnah where it talks about the granting of a divorce decree and the requirement that it be made public and given to the court and given to the wife. And it says there, mipnei tikkun olam, for the sake of the repair of the world. And what it means is that a woman, especially in the Mishnaic times, was a vulnerable person. And her divorce needed to be recorded and needed to be public for her protection. And so tikkun olam here meant so that the world could operate, so that people could go and do what needed to be done in the world. The woman could move forward with her life, that people could move forward with lives, and they were not bound to each other in uncomfortable or difficult circumstances. That's the original meaning of tikkun olam. In a way, it has something to do with social justice, but in another way, it's a precise legal term. Now, later on, in the Kabbalistic imagination, in the Kabbalah, the meaning of tikkun olam becomes something different. There, tikkun olam is part of a legend about the creation of the world. And it's about the creation of the world, that the world was contained within a vessel that shattered, and that the mission of human beings was to take these shattered pieces of holiness that comprise the world and put them back together. And we put them back together by doing mitzvot, by doing good deeds. And we call that repairing the world, repairing the vessel, actually doing our bit to repair the vessel. But there is another use of tikkun olam that I'm not so comfortable with. And that appears in other places in our tradition, where tikkun olam, the repair of the world, is a kind of phrase that is meant to denote a kind of superior attitude. That is to say that we want to repair the world by making sure that all the world understands that our God is the God. In that usage, it's somewhat distasteful. And it's a usage that never found a strong footing, although it proves that even the most illustrious term used in the wrong way can mean something very different than how it was intended. And so there's a lesson there. The lesson is that we need to be careful when we hear phrases and think about how it's being used and what does it mean. This happens in our world all the time, where a perfectly legitimate phrase is turned around, turned upside down. In fact, next week when we begin to review the Megillat Esther on Tuesday, I'm going to talk about Megillat Esther. In the story of Esther, we have this idea of the world turned upside down. And that's what happens with the language of the word tikkun olam. It can be turned upside down. And instead of meaning something positive, that we're going to repair the world, it can mean something like, we are better than the world, and we're going to make sure that you do things our way, and that will repair the world. And that's not a usage I can agree with. And it's for that reason that I often avoid using the term tikkun olam. Not that anybody, but probably me, knows of its nefarious usage, but because there is such a thing, I'd rather use the term social justice, or a term that is more easily understood, because these ideas are clearly Jewish values and don't necessarily need to be couched in Hebrew terms to dress them up as if they were always a term that we used in the tradition from all times. We can just say social justice. We can just say that we know our mission is to be holy. We can just say that we know that doing the right thing, doing the just thing, that is what our commandments tell us to do. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice you shall pursue, is how the Torah puts it. That's enough for me as a term to propel us towards continuing to build a just world. May we continue the holy fight, continue the strength to do what is right, to speak up for what is right in a world that seems all too broken. Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. B'alma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. B'hagalav izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam le'amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitboar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yidadar v'yidaleh v'yidalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu. Li'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlomo Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav. Hu yaseh shalom. Olenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Thank you, friends.